especially that one stretch of the second half. Just talk about his contributions tonight.
Yeah, well, I thought he did a good job. Obviously, Jordan Taylor had a good game, but didn't have, that big time game where he scores 30 and just, dominates the game. And I thought he did a solid job on him. We tried to put some different people on him, but offensively, I thought he made good decisions the whole night. Obviously, as a team, we only had 4 turnovers. Lou didn't have any. So his ability to make good decisions and his ability to make that pull-up puts him in a bind. And when you have each one and Juwan involved in that, and they're worried about them, then he's not, only making shots, he's making good decisions. And that was the difference in that one little stretch right there, was his ability to get to the basket, make a couple of those pull-ups.
And Coach Ryan just told us that he was, to Lewis's credit, but to his team's discredit, he didn't like the way they let him get to the basket. And that was a lot of Lou.
Yeah, Lou does a good job of kind of hesitating at times and making you make a decision defensively through the pick and roll defense. And then he just, if you back up off him or you release to go get one of those other guys, he will get to the basket. And at times they switch, and at times they just stay flat and held. And when they switch, he just tried to create for his teammates or get to the rim.
What did you tell your team, or just how did you look at this week and what it could potentially mean for the season and your seeding?
Yeah, well, we just, try to prepare for Wisconsin. And, we tried to correct some things that we thought we made mistakes in Madison. We had 10 turnovers in the first half at Wisconsin, and we had 4 for the game today, so I thought we did a better job there. And I thought from a rebounding standpoint, we had a couple of good stretches, but for the most part, they beat us on the glass. But I thought the difference was our decision making, and really just trying to pound that into their heads. We have to give ourselves a chance by taking care of the basketball and not worried about the whole week. Wisconsin's one of the best teams in the country. They're enough. And just worried about them, and then tomorrow take a day off, and then just try to prepare, for Sunday's game.
Matt, you had that 13-point lead. They come back. It's 58-56.
Yeah.
Then I think each one may score 5 straight points. But that stretch there where the game's in the bounds, talk about what you guys did well.
Well, obviously getting to 13, you like to push the game out. They're just too good of a team. They're not gonna, they're gonna make another run at you there. And we let a couple guys get loose, but to their credit, they made good plays. And I thought each one's runner there was a big basket for us. We got some ball screen action there, and each one made that big 3, and that was a huge basket. Then we made our free throws down the stretch, and especially Lewis. Lewis really coming into his own, and as a point guard, that's what you have to do. You got to take care of the basketball, and you got to make your free throws first and foremost.
Matt, each one made those 2 big shots for you tonight. Made a couple of big shots for you in Champaign when you guys were putting the game away. Can you just kind of talk about him in general in terms of him being a guy you kind of want the ball in his hands in those situations?
Yeah, it's very similar to Lewis. Each one's going to score obviously more than Lewis, but you want him to make the right decision. Not necessarily saying take the game over and score the basketball. In those situations, just read the defense and make the right play. And I've always said this about him. When he lets the game come to him, he's one of the best guards in the country.
Coach, touch a little more on the development of Lewis over the course of the season, where he started, where he's come now.
Yeah, well, it's very demanding how we defend, and he has to go up and guard the basketball, and it takes a lot out of you. I think when he first got here, he was a guy that could get to the rim, and he could pressure the basketball. Really didn't have a consistent shot, wasn't a very good free throw shooter, and he's really worked at his pull-up. I think he's now 6 for 8 in Big Ten play from 3, so if you leave him wide open, he'll knock it down. But his decision-making is just so much better than it used to be. He just lets things come to him, and he's just more comfortable out there on the court. It does help. We have a couple other guys that can come in and relieve him also at that position, in Tyrone Johnson and Kelsey Barlow.
Coach, I know you want to enjoy this win, but how much does that 23-point defeat against Ohio State still eat at you, knowing that they're coming up next?
Well, I think it lies in our performance on Sunday. Talking about it is really not that big of a deal, and it was probably more than 23 points. It's the way it ended up. But they had us down by 30 for most of the game as they continued to push it out. But we got to do a better job of competing. I think that's the only game this year where I felt we just didn't compete, and it had nothing to do with X's and O's, and they just simply stole our spirit. And so we got to go out first and foremost and just lay it on the line and do a better job of competing and just kind of making some hustle plays to get going.